Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. There are various forms of non-renewable energy sources like carbon-based fossil fuels, but they are being used up much faster than they are being created. On the other hand, renewable energy sources are not limited by availability. Today, we'll discuss some of the renewable energy sources. Let's start with the mother of all forms of energy sources. Solar energy is the source of all renewable and non-renewable resources with the exception of nuclear energy. Solar energy is the radiation from the sun falling on Earth in the form of heat and light. This solar energy affects various ecological cycles like water cycle, carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, and thus provides energy in different forms. The utilization of solar energy can be done directly in two ways. One is solar thermal conversion and the other is photovoltaic conversion. Let's discuss them. Have you ever felt hot on a sunny day when wearing dark clothes? The answer to why it happens is that dark colors absorb more radiation. This radiation can be used to heat water to generate vapor and produce electricity by running a turbine. The amount of power generated is dependent on the temperature of the water. To heat the water from 40 to 100 degrees Celsius, flat plate collectors are used. They are simple in design and require little maintenance. The liquid flat plate collector has an absorber plate on which radiation falls and is absorbed by the fluid moving through the fluid passage. This fluid is heated and stored in a tank for vapor generation through the Rankine cycle. The working fluid used is methyl chloride or toluene because they have a low boiling point. The vapor generated moves the turbine to generate electricity. Such systems have low efficiency because of the small temperature differences. Higher temperatures can be obtained by using cylindrical parabolic collectors. Parabolic curves are also used for focusing. Parabolic surface is used to concentrate solar radiation. A cylindrical parabolic concentrating solar collector has water flowing through an absorber pipe which is at the axis of the parabolic collector surface. Thus, energy is concentrated on the axis and water is heated in a range of 150 to 300 degrees Celsius. This results in a more efficient system than flat plate collectors. The flat plate collector and the parabolic collectors can obtain temperatures up to 300 degrees Celsius, but to obtain much higher temperatures, the central tower concept is used. This consists of a central tower containing the fluid. Tower is surrounded by heliostats which concentrate the solar energy on the central tower. This gives more efficiency than the previous cases. Now, let's see what photovoltaic conversion is. In photovoltaic conversion, instead of heating a fluid to run a turbine, the sunlight is directly converted into electricity. A solar cell is a semiconductor device which works on photovoltaic effect to convert sunlight directly into electricity. Such devices are made of semiconductors like silicon. When solar radiation falls on the semiconductor, the electrons of atoms get enough energy to move freely. A photovoltaic cell has two thin regions, namely N-type and P-type. The N-type is doped with an element having 5 valence electrons, thus rendering one electron free to be donated and forming donor ions, while the p-type is doped with an element having 3 valence electrons, resulting in the formation of acceptor ions. As a result, an internal electric field is developed. When the sunlight falls on the cell, the electrons get excited from that energy and move under the electric field developed between two electrodes, thus producing a current. Now, let's move on to indirect forms of solar energy. Due to the sun's heat, water from sources like oceans, rivers, lakes, and even soil is evaporated. But due to uneven terrain, the heating is not uniform. This causes expansion of air in hot areas, thus reducing the pressure. Thus, the air moves from higher pressure to lower pressure, thus forming winds. The kinetic energy of these winds is converted to electrical energy by a wind turbine. Wind turbines are generally divided into two types, one being the horizontal axis type while the other being the vertical axis type. Vertical axis wind turbines like Savonius and Darius have rotors transverse to the wind and the main components are at the base. On the other hand, horizontal axis wind turbines are more common and are more efficient. Vertical type turbines can run in any wind direction, but horizontal wind turbines must face the wind in order to operate. Apart from the solar radiation, the sun along with the moon exerts gravitational forces on Earth which cause tides in oceans. When the sun and moon are at right angles with respect to Earth, low tides occur and high tides occur when the sun and the moon are aligned. A dam can be used to store water at high tides and release it back through turbines to produce power at low tides. One factor to be mentioned here is that not every place is suitable for tidal power. This is because the efficiency of tidal power is dependent on the difference between the high tide and low tide. The higher the difference, the higher will be the efficiency. That is why tidal power, in spite of being a renewable energy source, can only be employed in limited places. Thus, renewable energy sources not only solve the problem of limited availability of fuel, but also provide a clean source of energy that does not harm the environment. Well, that's all for this video. We'll be back with other renewable sources in our upcoming videos, so stay tuned. Until then, bye.